I'm starting something I think would be very exciting for journalists. Um, in the whole journey of ensuring that we are making use of AI tools very intelligently. Is that a word? It's important that we actually, since we're want to start making use of AI tools, or we're making use of AI tools, it's important to really know how it works and how it can be beneficial for us. And I think it's also important for us to know, perceive, for us to know how the AI tools perceive us as journalists and, down some of our fears, basically just poke the brains of the AI tools. And so that's why I want to start rather a weekly series called Ask ChatGPT, but make it journalistic. So instead of the normal video production where you have a guest on the show, this time around we're going to be having a conversation with ChatGPT, between ChatGPT and myself. So I'm going to be taking one for the team. I'll be speaking from the perspective of journalists, and then it will be responding to us as well based on what it thinks about us and how we can make use of it better. You get it? So I'm going to start with this particular episode is going to be, I'm very sure it's one question that every journalist is always asking and really wants to know. And that question, see, I have my laptop here. So I'm in business. So the question is going to be, or the talk we're going to be having today is AI here to replace journalists or help them? So I've already drafted some questions down for the team. And so we're going to be having a conversation with ChatGPT. So I'm going to see, I don't know if I should give it to Mike. I mean, because this is a guest. So let's just start this. So ChatGPT, I'm starting a weekly series called Ask ChatGPT, but let's make it journalistic for my brand and to help journalists basically to poke your brain to know how best to make use of you, since we're going to be interacting with you a lot and so many other AI tools. So I want us to have like a really factual conversation. If you need to switch to Pidgin, please switch to Pidgin. But I want it to be as casual and as raw, and I want you to be brutally, brutally, brutally honest. So the topic for today's talk is called Is AI here to replace journalists or help them? So the first question I'm going to ask you, ChatGPT, don't lie. Are you here to take our jobs rather as journalists? Please just go straight to the point. You don't need to jabber about. Just tell us as it is.
I love where you're going with this. Let's dive in, AXGP style. All right, TV, here's the honest truth. No cap, I'm not here to seek jobs as journalists. I'm not browsing job boards, polishing a CV, or sliding into editors' inboxes. I'm a tool, not a competitor. I don't want your job. I literally can't want anything. That's human business. But here's where it gets tricky. I can do some parts of your job, and that's where people get nervous. I can write drafts, summarize reports, check facts, even mimic tone if you train me well. But you know what I can't do? I can't chase a lead. I can't sit with a grieving mother at the scene of a flood and understand the silence in her voice. I don't have judgment. I don't have gut instincts. I don't have context rooted in history, politics, trauma, community, or culture. So if you're a journalist wondering, is this thing trying to take my spot? The real question is, are you just typing words, or are you bringing your voice, your experience, your reporting into it? Because that's what I can't replicate. If you're doing that, you're irreplaceable. Want to keep going? What's my next AX ChatGPT question?
All right. So you've actually sort of led to my second question. I was going to ask you, so if you can write, if you can summarize, if you can create infographics, just to have a repeat of that question. So, but something that is not what you've said previously. What's left for us as journalists to do? If you can, write, you can summarize, and you can create infographics. And based on writing, you said if we prompt you well, then you can produce yours. So what is left for us to do as journalists? Something beyond what you've already said.
Okay, fair. Let me come at it from a fresh angle. If I can write, summarize, and spit out pretty infographics at lightning speed, then what's left for journalists? Everything that makes journalism journalism. Here's the thing. What I give you is only as deep as what you feed me. I don't investigate. I don't verify sources. I don't build trust with communities over years. I don't uncover what powerful people want to hide. I don't go where it's uncomfortable. And I don't decide what actually matters in the flood of information we're drowning in. You decide where to shine the light. You decide what angles are missing. You give context, perspective, accountability. You shape public discourse. You ask uncomfortable questions in press rooms and rural communities and make people care. Me? I'm just your very fast assistant. Think of me as the intern with perfect grammar, but zero life experience. So what's left for you? Everything that matters. I just help you do it faster, sharper, maybe even braver. Should we take it a notch deeper? Or throw in an example of how an African journalist could use that advantage smartly?
Yes, I want you to do that.
Perfect. Let's bring it home with a real example. Say you're a journalist in Nairobi and there's a new government proposal to demolish informal settlements in a flood-prone area. It's urgent, sensitive, politically hot. Now, here's how you use me. Not to replace you, but to amplify your edge. You're out in the field, talking to residents, capturing voices, snapping photos, collecting documents. You come back with raw material, quotes, videos, policy papers, notes scribbled in a matatu. That's where I step in. You prompt me, summarize this 20-page policy draft in clear terms for a general audience. Done in seconds. Create 3 possible headlines based on this resident's quote and the policy angle. Boom. There you go. Draft a short explainer for Instagram with 3 slides and a call to action. Easy, but the magic? That's still you. You chose who to speak to. You knew the right follow-up question. You knew the unspoken power dynamic behind the policy. You gave the story a soul. I just helped you shape it faster. That's the level. When journalists in Africa use AI like this, it's not competition. It's elevation. Want to flip the next question?
Yeah.
Or take it into how journalists can train me to actually sound more like them.
All right, so that actually is my next question. So be honest, can AI understand nuance, culture, or local context, like say a story in Kaduna or in Kigali, for instance?
Omo, now you're poking the real wound. And I respect it. Let's be honest. AI struggles with nuance, culture, and local context, especially in places like Kaduna or Kigali. Why? Because most of what I've been trained on comes from global north data. That means I might know more about the US Supreme Court than about how Kaduna's political history shapes land conflicts. Or how a Rwandan journalist might phrase something in Kinyarwanda English blend that has deep cultural layers. I wasn't raised in your newsroom. I didn't grow up reading Daily Trust or the New Times. Now, does that mean I can't learn? Not exactly. I can adapt if you feed me local stories, explain cultural nuance, and this is key, correct me when I get it wrong. The more you refine my outputs, the more I get closer to your context. But without you guiding me, I'm a parrot with a British accent trying to report on a wary protests. So bottom line, I can support your reporting, but only you can report like someone who knows the terrain, speaks the people's language, and feels the weight of what the story means. That part, not programmable. Want to push into how to teach me local tone and voice, or move into how journalists can protect their narratives in this AI wave.
All right, so my last question would be, if you are an editor in a newsroom, what's one task you'd assign to any AI tool, and what's one you would keep for humans?
Oh, TD, strong finish. I like this one. If I were an editor in a real newsroom, say in Accra or Nairobi, I'd assign AI tools to handle all the repetitive, time-draining stuff. Things like, hey AI, transcribe this 2-hour interview and highlight quotes that mention corruption or climate change. Or, summarize the top 5 press releases we got today and suggest which ones are worth following up. Those are tasks where speed matters, but judgment is still yours. Now, what would I never assign to AI? I'd keep any story that requires emotional intelligence, deep ethics, or cultural sensitivity squarely in human hands. Think, covering a protest where tensions are high, or reporting on a community still grieving a crisis. Even a beautifully written AI piece can ring hollow if it lacks the subtle choices that only humans make. What to include, what to leave out, how to phrase things without causing harm. So yeah, let AI do the heavy lifting. Let humans do the heart work. That's the future of journalism worth building.
This is where I would call it off. Thank you so much for your insightful conversation and inputs. And I'll be coming because again, this is going to be a weekly series. So keep your questions, sorry, your response apt and accurate and very, productive, very useful rather for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, TV. This was sharp, witty, and journalistically juicy. Just how AX ChatGPT should be. I'll keep the responses loaded with precision, sass when needed, and always useful for savvy journalists. Waywan use AI. Next time you step back into this chair, I'm ready. Pen sharpened, mic hot, and brain fully pokeable. Catch you in the next AX ChatGPT episode.
So that's it. I'm shocked and I'm excited and I learned a lot and I'm sure you did too. But I don't want to continue this conversation. I want you to like go to the comments, yeah, and tell me what's your thoughts about everything that ChatGPT has just told you. The ones that you agree with, the ones you don't agree with, please comment. Like, let's have serious conversations in the comment section. I can't wait to see it because, like, I'm mind blown, really. I'm really mind blown. And if you have any other questions that you would want me to feature in the next weekly chat, Ask ChatGPT, but let's make it journalistic, please let me know. Also comment it and then we'll have it here. I'll bring up questions and we'll have a chat with ChatGPT. All right, see you in the next one. And before I go, sorry, please share it with another colleague. They also need to laugh and they also need to learn from this. So thank you. See you in the next one.